Mary Louise Cook here, joined by Trey Morris, officially named the head coach of Montana State men's tennis. So first off, Trey, congratulations. Trey, you bring significant experience as both a player and a coach to this role. Looking back on your time as an athlete, who or what played a significant role in inspiring you to start coaching?
Yeah, great question. I think it goes back to be honest with you, to when I first started really playing the sport at a high level. So kind of going back to age 12, 13 years old. I was growing up just outside of Athens, Georgia, which if you know anything about college tennis, that essentially is the college tennis mecca, with the University of Georgia there. That's where the ITA Hall of Fame is. And so kind of growing up from a young age, being around that atmosphere, seeing some of the greatest players, like John Isner, who we all know sort of reached that top 10, right around that top 10 in the world range on the tour after playing college tennis in Georgia. So going back to that time, I was sort of inspired by that program, by the University of Georgia program, by being around those players as a young kid, and then also by being around that coaching staff. From that young age, I actually worked with the assistant coach at Georgia. When I was growing up, he was working with me as a coach. And so kind of being around that really inspired me to continue down that path and hopefully coach at Division I level someday. And that day has kind of arrived. So it's extremely exciting. But yeah, I definitely knew from an early age.
Very cool. So when you look at this team, what do you feel is going to be key in building a championship program in Bozeman?
I think experience. This will be an interesting team for us this year. We've got, stepping in last year, first thing, I had a lot of guys coming back, a lot of seniors and older guys. And now all of a sudden it's the opposite, going into my first year without the interim tag. So we've got 5 guys coming in that'll all be freshmen. So pretty big freshman class there, and 6 returners. But so it's going to be really exciting to see how these two groups mesh together and see how these freshman guys continue to grow on the court. And I think that'll have a lot to do with our success, definitely this year, but really into the future.
Now, when you look at this team as a whole, what do you see as being their biggest strength?
That's a great question. It's a great group of guys, I think. When I came in last September as the interim coach, I think it was pretty obvious to tell that they wanted to do something special. They weren't happy with mediocrity, and they wanted to be great. They wanted to put themselves in contention for championships on a year-to-year basis. And I think sort of having that mentality as a group, they were able to wrap their heads around this. And I think that's their biggest strength is them really fighting for each other as a group and wanting to be great, not only as individuals on the team, but as a collective as well.
Now, tennis is such a small world. You grew up with Alexander Free, who is now the Idaho State men's tennis coach. You were actually roommates with him in college. What's it going to be like coaching against him?
Yeah, I was wondering when that one was going to come up. I think that was only a matter of time. No, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. Alex is a great guy, and like you said, I think we met for the first time. He was actually still living in Alabama. I think we were about age 12, and so we've known each other for a very long time. Like you mentioned, he went to Appalachian State for graduate school and still played a couple of years there when I was playing as well. And yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I can tell you that we're already talking a lot of trash to each other, and I think any time that something goes right with the program, we're sending the other a message immediately and saying, "Hey, you better watch out." So it's a sort of a fun friendship / turning into a little bit of a rivalry here, but it's a blast.
I love it. I'm excited to see how that all plays out. Now, when you look at your coaching style, is there a particular philosophy that you live by as a coach?
Yeah, I think so. For me, it's all based, we look at tennis and obviously at the collegiate level, it's a great team event. It's a great team sport. It's extremely exciting. But when we start to look at the sport in general, it's always sort of been an individual sport for these kids coming along. When you start to look at the sport beyond college, and ultimately that's what our goal is here, is to help these kids chase that dream and reach their goal to play professional tennis. And so when we start to look at that, we look at how do we go about getting those kids to that point, to that level. And we go about doing that, which is through our philosophy, which is focusing very heavily on individual player development here. And so that's really how we run our program. That kind of goes through every facet. So yeah, we definitely have team practices, but we do a lot of individual work with the guys outside of that. We sort of look at our strength program on that standard. What does that individual need to continue to improve in the weight room? What does that individual need from our nutritionist as far as their goals to put on weight, slim up, whatever it might be for that person? And so, yeah, that's really how my philosophy breaks down. And like I said, obviously with our program, it's our goal to win championships, to do things that I think any coach wants to do. But sort of how we go about getting there is maybe a little different.
Absolutely. Now, when you look at just being a coach, and this is your first head coach position, right, with the interim tag removed. Right. What do you see as the most rewarding part of being a coach?
For me, it's just seeing these guys succeed in life. To be honest with you, I know it sounds pretty cheesy. I know that's what every coach typically says, right? But I think it is true, and I think that's why all of us are sort of in this profession. It's to help these young men continue to find themselves, whether that's on the court, off the court, in the classroom, or in the community. I mean, so I think the most rewarding thing for me is just seeing these guys push themselves, grow, and maximize their opportunities and their potential in that holistic approach. So no matter what it is.
Awesome. Well, Trey, thank you so much for your time today. Congratulations again on having the interim tag removed. Very excited to see what you do there in Bozeman.
Thanks so much, Mary Louise. I appreciate your time.